So we now have our keynote speech. Mr. Tomas Alonso, Head of Product Technology in Orange, Spain, will now show us something special. The floor is yours.
Okay.
Forgive me, just before we start, the people who are at the edge here, people at the edge, it will be worth you moving to the center of this. You will get a better view. You will see what I mean at the end. Sir, the floor is yours.
Do not disclose anything, Colin, but it is true that if you sit down in this central pillar of the auditorium, it will be much better. Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Buenas tardes. My name is Tomas Alonso, and I'm leading the team in charge of the product engineering within Orange, Spain. First of all, let me thank Colin, 5G IA Association, and Narcís, the soul behind the event, Universidad Politécnica de Valencia, for giving me the opportunity to share today the Orange Spain road to 5G. Okay, let's start talking about... something is not going well, my friend. 2 seconds. Okay. I can talk without the slides. I have it in my mind. Well, 5G. I have seen the colleague from the South Korean ministry. It was great to see how 5G is here in a first step of maturity, true, but is here and can provide beautiful functionalities. 5G nowadays, everyone is talking about 5G and everywhere. We are seeing 2019 as the year of the first commercial operations, as 2013 was the year with the first 4G launches. 2019 seems to be the year where we will see, where we are seeing the first 5G commercial launches. It all began some months ago in April, when on one hand Verizon in the US and on the other hand the 3 main Korean operators in South Korea started to announce with a difference of hours the 5G readiness in their operations. At that point in time, the official race to be the first had formally finished. Some weeks after, in Switzerland, in Europe, Swisscom started to announce 5G was ready in their networks. And week after week, almost day after day, we are seeing in the media many launches, 5G launches across the whole Europe, in Australia, and in other countries. In particular, in Spain, last week, in fact, the last Saturday, Vodafone Spain launched the 5G operations in 15 cities, while the rest of the operators are still testing and learning about the technology. In summary, 2019 is the first year with 5G in some countries. But despite all these first wave of commercial launches, we are seeing in Orange Spain, we believe that the ecosystem is still immature. It's still immature, let me understand, in terms of providing a substantial increase of customer experience compared to what we can have nowadays with 4G. I was in the past Mobile World Congress showing, for example, with the claim of throughput, one 4G handset, normal 4G handset, showing 997 megabits per second in my hand. That's what it typically is shown when talking about 5G nowadays. So this is why I say that immature in terms of providing a substantial increase in terms of value for the final customer. Let me point the main topics we believe that should still to be fine-tuned. First of all, standardization. Standardization defines how the different functionalities shall be implemented in the whole ecosystem. We have 3 main pillars in 5G. You know all of them, but let me summary. First is throughput. We have much more throughput than previous technologies, by 10, depending on the metrics, by 10, even I have seen by 250. It depends on the wireless technology and the legacy wireless technology you compare with. The second one is latency. We'll have 1/10 of the latency we are having nowadays in 4G. In fact, we will have better latencies than the ones that we can achieve today in FTTH, in fiber networks. And the third point is the possibility to connect millions of connected objects to the network, while today with 4G we have thousands of connected objects. Those three main functionalities should be accommodated in different standards, in different waves of standards. Nowadays, technically we call it Release 15. It was released last year. It is the most mature one. In fact, all the commercial announcements are around this throughput claim. In terms of having the functionality implemented in the standards about latency and massive mobile IoT, we will have two waves of standards by end this year and 2020. That's in terms of functionality, but standards also define how to build the networks, how is the reference model, the architecture. The first architecture that we have nowadays in place in all the commercial networks is what we call non-standalone NSA architecture, which is a first step. Basically, it's like an additional functionality on top of the network we have today for the 4G in order to cope, in order to connect the 5G new radio. The next standard, the standalone standard, some of you have already talked about, will come, let's say, in a full mature state by 2020. It will allow us to have, let me say, real 5G networks, pure 5G networks, implementing not only throughput experience increase. Second point I would like to highlight is spectrum. Without a spectrum, nothing can be done. No matter if you have technology devices or whatever, if you do not have a spectrum, you are lost. In many countries, a spectrum nowadays is being awarded. In Spain, most of the spectrum in the central band, 3.5 gigahertz, is already awarded. But we have in different portions. Most of the operators have the spectrum in different portions. If you do not have the spectrum in a continuous band, you cannot offer the best customer experience to your customers. You cannot offer the best throughput. So we are working with all the stakeholders around the spectrum in order to have the reshuffling of the band. That's quite important, topic in terms of providing a substantial increase in 5G compared to the previous technology. And the second topic around spectrum is the low band frequencies. The lower frequencies you have, the less nodes you need to roll out to provide a consistent 5G coverage. 700 megahertz will be awarded here in Spain as early as first half 2020. In summary, in the spectrum, we have a spectrum. That the spectrum can be used, not very efficient, not in the most efficient way, but it can be used, and this is why in Spain and in other countries, commercial rollouts are happening nowadays. Third point I want to highlight, devices. I was working in 3G in 2000. At that point in time, we believed that technology was there, and suddenly in 2001, besides the technology, besides the standard, we realized that we didn't have any device. So leveraging on our experience in 3G and less in 4G, we all believe that if you do not have devices, you cannot invite your customers to switch massively to a new technology. Nowadays, we have between 5 and 10 models, depending on the market. They are still quite expensive, and they are implementing only one frequency, the 3.5 gigahertz frequency, and only the standard providing throughput. What I referred before as non-standalone. In a second wave of mature devices, we will have more frequencies implemented in the devices and a hybrid solution implementing the non-standalone and also the standalone, providing all the full package of 5G functionalities to our customers. So, good devices, a bit expensive, but not implementing the full package of functionalities of 5G. And I do not want to pass over the network. On the right-hand side of the slide, you can see the three main topics. We believe that there's a room for improvement in networks. First is the backhaul. Backhaul is the transmission network to connect all the base stations towards the central elements of the network. In order to cope with the expected tsunami of data traffic that will happen in 5G, we need to upgrade all those links. The best way to have a scalable and efficient backhaul is what we call fiber to the node, FTTN. We need to connect with fiber. We need to connect with FTTN, all those nodes. In Orange Spain, for example, in particular, we are close to say that 50% of our traffic is nowadays, mobile data traffic is nowadays on nodes, on base stations connected with the FTTN, but there's still a plan that we have to develop and we have to complete before launching massively 5G in order to avoid congestions, in order to remove the bottlenecks in the network. Then equipments. Okay, radio equipments, radiating systems. We have equipments, but the first generation of equipments. Basically, I call the 3T equipments. Too heavy, too big, and with a very high consumption. If we want to be effective, if we want to be efficient deploying networks, we have to wait a bit more. We have to wait for the second generation of equipments, which in a matter of months, by 2020, according to the information we have, there will be in the market better equipments which will help us to be efficient deploying networks. And last but not least, about the network is the core network. The core network is the central element of the network where we implement all the key functionalities to our customers. Laurent was mentioning before service slicing, which is one of the key topics of 5G. That functionality will not be present until 2020, when the new standalone solution will be implemented, will be fully implemented in the core networks. Nowadays, we are just upgrading the network, the core network we have, in order to provide a first setup of functionality, basically to connect the new radio equipment that we are deploying, at least on our case, for testing purposes. So that's the 5G ecosystem in the snapshot of the 5G ecosystem. Let me insist on immature means immature in order to provide a much better experience than the ones that we are having in 4G. That's quite important to remark. And now it is time to talk about what Orange Spain is doing nowadays. I can summarize in 2 words: testing and learning. We have been in the kindergarten. We are now at school. University is still ahead of us. NASIS will help us to pass all the exams. And we have a clear roadmap of what we want to do. Testing and learning, not only to fully understand how the technology behaves, but also how we can exploit the technology in order to provide the best use cases for our customers. We don't deploy technologies just because of deployment. We deploy technologies, we deploy new services to improve the customer experience of our customers. In 2018, in that respect, in 2018, we announced that we will start deploying first generation of 5G equipments in 8 different cities in Spain in order to test the technology. We are working with the main providers in the telecommunication sector. We are working with Ericsson, Huawei, Nokia, and ZTE. All of them are collaborating with us in order to fully understand what's behind the 5G technology. During this period of time, almost 2 years, we have achieved relevant milestones, technical milestones, use cases milestones. I have wrote here 4 of them. In 2017, 2 years ago, with some of the guys who are here, I was in Madrid, in the center of Madrid, showing that 5G could provide speeds up to 15 gigabits per second, unbelievable speed rates, in a data session in mobility in the center of Madrid. It was a great milestone at that time. More recently, a few months ago, we have been showing here in Valencia, together with the ZTE partner that we are having here in Valencia, the first data call using a preliminary version of the standalone architecture, the target 5G architecture. We have demonstrated. In fact, we are using this standalone solution in Valencia, in this auditorium, to show you some use case at the end of my presentation. In the time between, we have tested, besides the technology, we have tested use cases. In the last Mobile World Congress, for example, we showed the first drone connected with 5G here in Spain in order to remotely manage that drone with an instantaneous response. I remember people from the security services, from the police, from the doctors saying, I want that. I want to have one device, drone in this case, being managed with an instantaneous response to my orders. So it was a great milestone for them in order to show what 5G is capable to offer, in this case to the emergency security services. In the Mobile World Congress, we also showed something similar to what we are going to see in a matter of minutes here, how 5G can help to let people link in a much more stronger way. We did a setup, and we were able to synchronize human activities separated hundreds of kilometers one from each other without any delay, leveraging on the 5G strengths of throughput and latency. It was very funny because we put two rugby teams, one in Madrid, one in Barcelona, dancing the haka, the famous tribal dance that the New Zealand rugby guys played at the beginning of every match. And we had two teams dancing, fully synchronized without any delay, because they were seeing each other via 5G. That's something that 5G, and Mr. Wee has shown some of the use cases in Korea, that 5G can help to synchronize human activities, to have people closer than before, than any other time before. So this is what we are doing, but we are not doing this alone. We are honest, we are pragmatic, and we know that we cannot do this alone. We cannot invent the use cases. We cannot develop all the use cases. We know a lot about technology, together with our partners, but we need to agree, we need to work together with the best-in-class partners in order to define, in order to implement, in order to fine-tune the real use cases, the real benefits for the final end users, no matter if it's B2B or B2C. In particular, in Valencia, we are working with different entities. I have wanted to highlight only the Valencia ones. We are working with the administrations. We are working with the Generalitat Valenciana, Ayuntamiento de Valencia, with a leader in education like the Universidad Politécnica de Valencia, and many other partners who, together with our technological partner here, are trying to build different use cases. Last Thursday, if I remember well, we were here showing some of the use cases we have been developed during the last almost 1 year. Autonomous vehicle and one robot mapping exactly without any delay what a human can do in front of the robot. Those use cases are in a very preliminary stage, but gives a preliminary view of the strengths of 5G, how 5G can transform the society and can speed up the digital transformation. We have been working in different verticals. I do not have many slides. We have been working in many verticals. One of them is tourism. In tourism, let's imagine visiting one monument or visiting a place in a monument hard to reach with augmented reality, virtual reality glasses, thanks to the 5G. Those are the typical use cases we are working with. In terms of enterprises, we are working with some harbors in Spain in order to help them to manage the very complex scenario they have. In terms of asset management, in terms of people management, 5G can implement a very wide coverage with an instantaneous response, able to see if by visual recognition something is entering in the harbor. On the other hand, we are also helping the harbors to implement in a more flexible and agile way disaster recovery systems, for example. Third point I have briefly mentioned, security, emergency services. Let's imagine that whatever device used to help people in an emergency or in a security could be connected with 5G. It is like you are in that device, sitting, driving that device. That's what it is, the most appreciated value of 5G in this vertical. We can also improve the current expert remote support, remote diagnosis, for example, for a medical doctor, leveraging on, again, on the throughput and the latency. The range of opportunity is huge. And finally, education. I was talking with Nasir some weeks ago. Imagine that I can stay, that I can attend to your classes without being there, and even I can feel like I'm in the middle of the class, of this virtual classroom with a glasses or with whatever device, augmented reality, virtual reality, like I was there. He was not very happy because it means that there will not be many people, let's say, in the class. But that's a potential opportunity that 5G can provide in this sector. Let's imagine. For example, in terms of training, education, a surgeon able to train, able to test first one operation before it is really done with a sick guy. So the possibilities around all those sectors are huge. If we add on top of that the 5G, at the end of the day, 5G puts the ingredients of whatever cake that can be done in any of those verticals. But as I said before, we were in the kindergarten, we have been in school, but we know what we have to do in order to launch our services. We have a plan. Oops. We have a plan. That's quite important if it appears. Okay, yeah. We have a plan. We know what we have to do on the road to the 5G. We have clear milestones. We will finalize our university classes during 2020 in 5G. And it's not only a matter of defining what we have to do in use cases or in technology analysis. We also have to accommodate our internal processes. We have been working for more than 1 year trying to analyze the impact in processes, in skills, at the end of the day, in our people to launch 5G. That's something which is not typically included in any slide, but I want to highlight because it is as complex as the new technology setup. During 2020, we will finalize. We will start deploying our first networks with the aim to launch our services by 2021. That's our deadline nowadays. We will start deploying the technology according to the maturity of the different standards. First, we will start with the available standard of throughput. We will have a lot of throughput in our services. In a second step, we will start offering latency services, or services with lower latencies that we have, and in a third stage, the massive IoT. Some of those services can already be implemented with 4G. It is time to learn. It is time to try how to bring value to our customers with the preliminary technologies in order to be ready once the 5G will be ready from 2021 onwards. And I wouldn't like to lose the opportunity, because there are many people here, to ask for your help. We are not alone. We need the implication of all of you. If we do not do it, we cannot succeed in our road to 5G. There are some points outside the typical stakeholders I've been talking about, partners, providers, operators. We need implication of all the stakeholders around 5G. First, let me insist on throughput, on the spectrum. On a spectrum, some topics to be finalized in Spain and other countries. That's quite important, with a harmonized view across all the countries in Europe, as Laurent was highlighting before. Second one is the way that we are going to measure the radioelectrical emissions to avoid warnings, to do it well. 5G completely changed the way that we put on Earth and we validate the radioelectrical emissions. We need to adapt our processes and we need to work on that. A lot of studies undergoing, and we have to be very careful with the way that we finally define the processes behind that. Third point is security. Security is a hot topic nowadays. We are seeing in the press security concerns, security uncertainties. We all have to agree on a risk assessment and an action plan to cover that. An agnostic view and an independent view if there's any risk in any security certification. We all have to do that, even at the European level. And fourth point, it's quite important also, is the regulation to allow us to deploy the huge increase in networks that we will have to face in the coming years. Heterogeneous regulations usually delay the way that we deploy. We need to harmonize. We need to have good regulations in order to cope with the expecting another tsunami of network build that we will have to face in the coming years. In summary, what I want to express today is that 5G requires help of all of us in order to succeed in the road to 5G. And that's all. That's all I wanted to say today. It's been a pleasure to share with all of you our plans, our present, our future, our milestones. But as some of you have already known, we have one more thing. As one famous people used to say at the end of every presentation in the past. We want to bring here something in addition to words. We want to bring here facts. The best way to show what 5G is able to do is with a video, as we have seen before, or with a real demonstration of what 5G can deliver to us today with the level of maturity that we have. So it is a pleasure for me to announce the first live 5G holographic video call here in Spain. I've seen in some videos from Korea that it's available there. You are lucky, we are lucky, because we are going to see here what's in a video, but in the real scenario. Prepare your smartphones, because it's really impressive. Basically, what we have today is 5G coverage here, 5G coverage in the headquarters we have at the other side of Valencia, and everything connected with 5G. I think that the best way to explain what we have is to first to show you a video in which you can fully understand what's behind that. We will continue afterwards. Video, please.
Bienvenidos and welcome to the audience on my behalf. My name is Fulvio Fugazza from ZTE Spain. I would like to introduce the 5G standalone setup we use for the holographic video conferencing, where the two sides of Orange Headquarter and Congress Palace are connected through 5G for uplink and downlink to reach the requirement of audio and video, and mainly we reach the latency of 10 milliseconds. We are finishing the setup right now, and we hope you're going to enjoy the demo.
Hello. Hello, Fulvio.
Hello, Tomás. Here you are.
Good. Thanks for joining us.
So, good afternoon to the audience, and good afternoon to you, Tomás, and thanks a lot for letting me share the stage with you.
Okay, let me introduce Fulvio Fugazza. It's our account director from ZTE, and together we have been defining this demo in order to show you the potential of 5G. I hope that you can enjoy our demo here. First of all, this is the first live video holographic call. This is not a trick. This is we are here. He's not here. He's somewhere.
But I feel there.
Remotely from here. But we can talk with Fulvio. So first of all, Fulvio, could you please explain me the technical strengths of 5G behind this demo that we are seeing today here, please?
Yeah. So this real-time holographic call is possible due to the 5G standalone infrastructure deployed in Valencia by Orange and ZTE. So as you mentioned in your presentation, Tomás, we are covering with standalone the three main pillars, so the main enhancement of 5G, starting from the low latency, the high throughput, and the massive IoT. In this particular demo, we are enjoying the low latency, as we say, below 10 milliseconds, to make this realistic discussion happen, and the higher throughput mainly on uplink.
Okay, great, amazing. You look smarter than you are, Fulvio. He's
so
Italian,
I would not move from here anymore.
He's smarter. He's smarter than in real life. Well, Fulvio, let's talk about behind the technical strengths. I've been talking almost half an hour about technical things. When you suggested me to perform this demo here using our 5G end-to-end network, it was 3 weeks ago. It was almost unbelievable for me to set up this on time. So could you please share with us which are the key factors that finally produce that we are here doing this first live videographic call, please? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, this is very easy. I can summarize it with mainly 3 words: people and team commitment. So as you exactly say, we had, from 3 weeks ago, we decided to start to build this demo and to bring it to this Congress. And from the first day, the commitment of the team of several organizations become a one team only working. And this compromise, this commitment, and this effort make this demo happening right now. Now, unfortunately, I need some help from the first generation to remind all the name of the main actor. Unfortunately, the 5G doesn't help me.
This is like the Oscars.
Exactly.
He needs a script, yeah.
I need it. So I would like really to thank, starting from Orange people, Juan Mesa, Victor, Mariapi, Nuria, Sergio, Carlos, Juan Serrano, Jaime, Raúl, and Juanma. And from ZTE side, Roman, Ricardo, Alberto, Chen Wangje, Xi Leifeng, and not least, Pablo, Abel, and the entire team of Content Lab. And I would like to give a special thanks to Narcis, the I team from the Universidad Politécnica of Valencia, and not last, Monica and Sergio from Palau, which really help, the big support they give us to really make this thing happen. And a big thanks, I think, also on your behalf to all those people to attend and to help us.
Okay, thank you so much. Crystal clear. It is true. Without a great team behind, technology is useless. As we usually say here in Orange, together we can do more, and it's been demonstrated here with this common effort in the last 3 weeks. Well, Fulvio, another question. Use cases, applications of this amazing technology. Which applications you foresee as could be take advantage of these 5G capabilities? Can you please give us your opinion on that?
Yeah, very interesting question. And every time I'm thinking to holographic, and I think most of you in the audience just remind Star Wars. And we've been considering, wow, this is the future. Now, the future is here. The future is in Valencia. And we can fear it, we can embrace it, but it's undeniable, then we cannot skip it. Now, I think then the new emerging technology, like 5G on the mobile side, and the new enriched content like holographic will allow new paradigm. And it will improve mainly in the personal relation, the communication among people. Now, if I would think about new application, I would think to teleworking, remote educational, remote health and medical, and not to forgive one probably of the most important, entertainment. Now, disruptive ideas are very important and always come to people who want to bring a disruptive idea to the real life. And this is what Orange and ZTE did, I think, in this particular case.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Fulvio. One question for the public. Narcisse, for example, can you make one question? I think you have a mic somewhere.
Since
yes.
I'm here, since I have been mentioned.
Hello, Narcisse.
Hello, Fulvio. Nice to see you virtually or physically almost.
Yeah, physically, maybe you are too tired to see me.
Just a question. You know that we have been cooperating for not only for these last 3 weeks, but for several months until today. And we developed a set of demos that can be seen outside here. What has been your experience working with this non-commercial partner, which is the I-Team in Valencia? Can you tell us about this?
Yeah, I'm very impressed because we have quite long cooperation with this gentleman and organization like Orange, but we start quite recently to cooperate with I-Team and university. And I think then having the same strategy, the same vision on the future, and the same open approach, the open minds from both sides, being mostly youth as we are, it really helped to succeed and to reach this kind of results. Now, I think then what we demonstrate on Thursday and what we can see in the stands is the result of this good cooperation. And I really want to encourage everybody to see the demo we have in the stands and builds up in the consortium between Orange, University, and ZTE.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we are running out of time. Colin is doing some kind of signal, so it seems that we have to go for the coffee. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed. You will have a small demo like this one every 1 hour in the booth between ZTE and Orange. I invite all of you. I also invite to see the rest of the demos we are having in the Orange booth, including some of the new handsets with 5G that we can see in the market. Even there's one surprise that you all can enjoy. And with that, yes, we finish now. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your passion. Being 30 minutes before the coffee, it's unbelievable. So thanks for all. Pleasure.
So we hope we make everybody awake for the last.
Bye, Fulvio.
Bye-bye.
So, thank you both for an excellent demo. So you've now earned a pause. Congratulations, that's wonderful. If you could be back at 15:15, please. So that's giving you 20 minutes. But please don't just think of coffee and biscuits. There are over 75 different stands out there with compelling 5G demonstration. Please make sure you try and see as many stands as possible. See you at 15:15. Enjoy your pause.